Hello, welcome to episode 13 of Relax, I Dare You. This one is about relaxing with your barriers. Thank you for joining my name is Pamela McDowell, and each week we come on to talk about and experience some relaxation. So let's go. First of all, what do I mean by barriers? We all have them, and a lot of times we don't realize what they are. So it's those places you won't go, the places where you're like, no, that's not for me. I'm avoiding this. I'll unpack it more as we get there. So, a lot of times, like one of the barriers that we have to actually being present with things is talking. So, a lot of people will talk, just chit chat to avoid situations. You can also have talk, conversation that lowers barriers, that creates a sense of ease with people and a situation. So that's an example of a barrier, and also an example of where a barrier is not necessarily a barrier, or what can be used as a barrier in one way isn't always a barrier. Let me back up a little bit. So, another barrier might be perfection. If you have this requirement to be perfect, otherwise you can't engage, then does that allow you to actually receive and enjoy everything you could? So, for example, it's really easy to say, hey, you have to look a certain way to be on camera. You have to have your makeup perfect. You have to this, that, and other things. And there are benefits to looking a certain way before you go on camera. But if you always have to have it, then is that creating a barrier? So have a look at some of the barriers that you come up with. Sometimes there'll be pain. You might experience a discomfort in your body, and you go into conclusions about, or you have what that means, as opposed to, what is this? Can I change it? Is this something that maybe I don't understand what it is? So basically, in essence, those barriers are the places where we're kind of like, oh, I've reached my limit. I'm not going any further with this, whatever that looks like. Or you can come in so close, or this topic can come in so close, but no closer, and I'm not going further. And you can have barriers. However, barriers a lot of times may be preventing you from actually receiving the things that you're asking for. So, if you have something, for example, you don't like a certain type of people for some reason, and a certain type of person, if that certain type of person comes near you and wants to talk to you or engage with you, and you've decided that this is someone you don't like, you suddenly shut off anything that they might have to say, or you'll make it wrong, or you'll judge it, or you'll try to figure out through a huge range of filters what it is, rather than just like, okay, what is this available? And I wish I had some examples here to use for you, but hopefully while we're talking, something in your world is coming up, because there are barriers all over the place. And most of the time, we don't know what they are. And a lot of your barriers, not all of them, but you might have these things that you've decided are true about the world. And if you decide that that has to be true, you'll tend to put up a guard to anything that doesn't match that. So just get present with, tune into any of the stuff that's coming up for you. And what if you could do, not making it right, not making it wrong, just recognizing, oh, is this true? Is this a barrier? Is this keeping me from actually experiencing and enjoying life to the fullest. And if you get a sense that that's a yes or possibly, then what if you could actually just get present with that energy? And maybe if you've got a lot of barriers that you recognized, then you could just pick one now. So if you can just get a sense that you have barriers, oh, cool. Huh. These seem like barriers. Where did you learn these barriers? Are these barriers still useful? Were they ever useful? Can you actually change something now? And what if you decided in the past or concluded or tried to make sense of that maybe isn't true? That if you would allow that conclusion to melt, would also contribute to your barriers relaxing and becoming less solid and something that you have a choice with. So if you get a sense of like a kid, a baby coming into this world, they really don't have barriers. And it's something that we pick up, we learn, and we choose to take on through our lifetime. And for a number of different reasons, and the reasons aren't really important, you put them there so you can actually change them. If you like, you don't have to. But if you could recognize, hey, this is here. I picked this up somewhere along the way. Maybe you were duplicating someone. Maybe someone expected you to have a barrier, or it's just something that worked for you. It doesn't matter. But what can you be with it now that gives you more choice? And what if you could even be grateful for those barriers? Grateful for what you've chosen in the past, but not make them necessary for now or the future. And anywhere you might be trying to go into a place where you're trying to figure out why a barrier was there, the reasons for it, a lot of times that's not entirely useful. It can be handy, it can help melt things, but what if you didn't have to figure out a why? And what if you could just start asking, hey, is this still working for me? And if not, what else could you be choosing? What else could you be with this? And as these barriers come up, as you recognize these barriers through your day, what if you could ask to start to notice them more and more and relax with them when they do show up? And it is with that relaxation that you can actually start to change things with more ease than you thought possible. So now, if you'd like to pick one of those barriers, you don't even have to identify what it is or put a name to it, but just imagine getting the sense of it. Maybe you can like place your hand on it, pretend that it's here, you put your hand on it, and a barrier there. And what if you could just like, hey, what is this? And relax your world, relax your head, relax your body as you just notice, hey, there's a barrier here. What is this? Without What else could I choose? So when you get, what is this, without trying to figure it out, but just, hey, what else could I choose now? And what if I could relax with everything I've been choosing and everything I'd like to choose? Is when you have relaxation with both. And that doesn't mean becoming a couch potato necessarily, but it means allowing that space and allowing that ease in your world where things can actually change. All right. So I know we've kind of jumped around and I've been talking in vague constructs, but if you get a sense of what this is, I'd love to see in your comments how this was for you, what you're finding, what your questions are. And just start to notice more and more what your barriers are, and can you now choose something different? Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next week. Bye.